All right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing? I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. All right. The year, technically, 2023 hasn't even started yet, but technically it has because most of these wheels are going to be available much later. All right, within this year, definitely by next year. So let me just say hello to everybody before I start. Let me not try to make this a long one. But let's get into it. Captain Candy Corn, really appreciate you coming in, man. Let me see what he says here. He says, I just want to know how it will compare price wise to the V13. Well, first of all, I literally just jumped in. We're talking about um, the Sherman S. Okay. First of all, can you guys hear me? Okay. I always do a mic check. Can you guys hear me? Press or type a one in the chat if you can hear. Type a zero if you can't. That's my lady saying hello. Hello, my lady. Katiza. Yeah, type of one. All right, awesome. Awesome. My lady's like, I'm here. She means at work. She usually lets me know she's at work. So awesome. Good job, babe. Enjoy yourself at work. If you're listening to this, well, maybe you could give some suggestions too. But guys, we are here to talk about the Sherman S. And what a fantastic wheel. What a fantastic wheel. So let's just see what some of you are saying. Captain Candy Corn is referring to the Sherman S. He says, I just want to know how it will compare price-wise to the V13, as I like the style of this one way more. Yes, absolutely. The style is ecstatic. Like, Leaperkim went back to their origins, okay? The Abrams was a good wheel, let's be honest, in terms of how it looked. So aesthetic wise, it was a really nice looking wheel, but where performance was concerned, not so good. Where quality was concerned, not so good. I don't know what happened. Nobody knows what happened. How do you go from, an amazing wheel that is the Sherman to the Abrams? But I'm going to cut them some slack because that's their second wheel. I'm not going to speak bad of Leaperkim at all because it's their second wheel. And honestly, they would have done great if they had just reduced the size a little bit, increased the battery capacity. If they intended on keeping that size, just increase the battery capacity, do a few more tests. We didn't really see any tests with that wheel. We saw photos on Facebook and stuff like that, but not much tests going on. We're not seeing that nowadays. Nowadays, we're seeing them test the Sherman S a lot. And that's how they should go. It's kind of funny because we didn't really see much testing with the original Sherman, but it ended up being great. And once again, like I said in my last live, if it wasn't for people like Marty, Kuji, and New Yorkers for testing that wheel, we would not have a fantastic wheel even up till this day. That is the original Sherman, as they called it, the OG Sherman. So Leaperkim has done a fantastic job by literally hitting the ground running when they first released that Sherman. All right, so let's give props to them for all they've done. They've definitely brought up the bar for a lot of the other EUC manufacturers around. And if it wasn't for them, Gotway wouldn't be, on the ground running as well. In Motion wouldn't have gotten into the speed race. A lot of these companies would not have gotten into the speed race, even though Bigode has been in that, performance sector where speed is concerned and range is concerned for a very long time. It didn't really push these other companies to do anything until Sherman came in, until Leaperkim came in. And then they were like, whoa, Bigode is not the only one anymore. And people actually liked the Sherman at the time, besides even as heavy as it was, people still loved that wheel. Okay. So I believe it was a 3,200 watt hour at the time. The Sherman Max upgraded that to 400 extra watt hours. So we have a fantastic Sherman Max that people love. It's literally an upgraded version of the original Sherman. Nothing much different going on. But what I didn't like, though, is the constant reviews from people saying, it's a 50 mile per hour wheel. It's not really a 50 mile per hour wheel. You can hit 50, but there are a lot of things to consider. For example, you have to consider the wind, how hard you're torquing off the line. I think if it's gradual, you'll be fine, but anything maybe under 220 or something like that in terms of pounds, that wheel is not really meant to be pushed hard for up to 50 miles an hour. I was able to push it up to 46, 47 when I had the chance to review it. And I had no intentions of going much faster because I only had it for a week, maybe a week and a half. But that's a beautiful wheel for the most part. People love that wheel. And I think that's the level of performance that we all are looking for in any wheel that's coming out right now. So yes. Now they came out with the Abrams, and then we were all ecstatic about the Abrams as well because we saw where they took us with the Veteran Sherman, the OG. But after the cutouts, after the firmware issues, after the pedal hanger issues, the build of the product was not so strong. It wasn't so sturdy. You had all kinds of dirt ingress that got into the wheel. Nothing was. I think the only thing that was truly sound on that wheel was the compartment, the isolation of the board, where they had the board within that metal case that also acted as a heat sink. So there's really no need for there's really no overheating or anything like that. But even Wrong Way, the great Wrong Way, he crashed his Veteran Abrams. So a lot of people experienced this terrible cutout situation, and it's not something that kind of helped their reputation in any way. But for a long time now, you had the KS20, then you had the blowing up of the KS20, and then you had the KS22. But these wheels, as amazing as they were to announce, and then people were so excited about them because of their design and features, etc., they were still lackluster. I think the only wheel at the time for this particular year that hasn't been lackluster is the Master. The Master, even though it's not really living up to build quality and standards and stuff like that, it's still a fantastic wheel. It's a great wheel. A lot of people are raving about the torque. A lot of people are raving about acceleration, the height of the pedal, its performance off-roading. I don't really hear much about cutouts until you talk about people who are truly pushing this thing to its limits, which is going to be expected. As far as like random cutouts, I don't really hear much about that. I'm not sure if you guys have, but for the most part, that wheel has taken the market by storm, the EUC market by storm. And I think with the addition of protective parts from the likes of Clark pads with the fairing and stuff like that, and from other people too, this wheel has pretty much solidified itself as the performance wheel. But it's still not really a 50 mile per hour wheel. It's just funny when people look, the idea of a 50 mile per hour wheel in my head is that you should be able to get to 50 miles per hour without cutting out. And you should be able to do that for a good period of time. You shouldn't be getting to 50 miles per hour and then worrying about cutting out. And then, even if like, it doesn't matter, like the temperature shouldn't matter, the meaning of the ambient temperature. What else? Cooling was not an issue on that wheel, though. I didn't hear much people talking about overheating. And why would it? There's literally no shell, so it's exposed to the atmosphere. So air should be definitely getting into that wheel with no issues. But in terms of just its playfulness, its agility, its maneuverability, its comfort for sitting, everything's great. Everything's great about that wheel as long as you don't crash it. And crashing means like slight crashing to heavy crashing. Just don't make it touch the ground and you have a fantastic wheel on your hands. But what we've seen with Leaperkim is that they're going in a different direction. They've gone in a completely different direction, but so is InMotion. InMotion has gone in a very completely different direction than both Kingsong and Begode. And I like that. I really like that because to me, it was very attractive, having a non-shell design. It was very attractive. It made it so that Begode can design something quickly on the spot, as you saw they did with the T4, with the Master Pro, and then the Master X. You saw that they just came out. All they did was, scaled up, scaled down a little bit with the T4, scaled up a tiny bit with the Master X, and they just added bigger batteries. I imagine some components might be different to handle the bigger battery, the bigger current output and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same thing. No shell though, no shell. And there was a video on, I believe, Facebook or Instagram of the Master crashing. The Master Pro crashing at very high speeds. I believe it was 100 kilometers per hour. Yes, it crashed at 100 kilometers per hour, and it was dark, so I really couldn't see the aftermath. But I wouldn't imagine. I can't imagine that this thing was in pieces. But either way, I love the goat. I love their performance. But sometimes they just make great moves, and then they make one crazy non-great move, which makes me worry about their overall decision making. So now we have Leaperkim coming out of the woodworks, and for a while they've been quiet. They've been very quiet, and you know what? That's a very good strategy. They should not be talking right now. That's what Bigot does. Whenever something goes wrong with Bigot, they go crazy and they release wheels like crazy to make you forget about the past. That's their strategy. It works for them. But seeing that Leaperkim is literally brand new to the space, I'm very glad that they stayed quiet. Okay. They did release an update, a software update or firmware update for the Abrams, so address the cutout situation. But since then, people still have been cutting out. So it's not a firmware issue. It's hardware. And that's what I always say about these wheels. Once you release them, there's really not much you could do cutout-wise, performance-wise, where you could literally send some type of firmware update over the air and have someone update their wheel and expect to have like a drastic difference in performance. No, you have to change components. What they'll have to do is preempt that. They'll have to preempt the possibility of people wanting to upgrade their wheels and release good components, that are at least, I don't know, 30% better or more than what they need for the current version, so that in case something is needed to upgrade, in case they need to upgrade something via firmware, the hardware will be adequate enough to upgrade to that performance level. But until then, you're just putting a band-aid on a problem, and that's what we found out. So version 2, I'm not sure if they could plan on continuing the Abrams. If they do, they should just revamp that entire board, revamp the motor, revamp the pedal hanger plastic area, just revamp everything, because that thing needs to be changed. The Sherman Max was basically a refinement of the original Sherman. It wasn't a complete change. It was just a refinement. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that the Abrams could not have gone through that. But we're here to talk about the Sherman S. Now that we've put that behind us, the Sherman S is indeed in the horizon. And I know it's in the horizon because it's on e-wheels. So let me just again go over some of your comments real quick, and then we'll start the show. All right, so who's next? He said it's unfortunate. It's only 100 volts too. It's not unfortunate. Actually, it's not unfortunate. Let me ask you this. Captain Candy Corn and everyone else. What was the advantage besides the master? Besides the master, what advantages have you seen really with 134 volts with the KS20? Was it 136? 136, 124, whatever. What advantages have you guys really seen besides crazy acceleration and besides, in some cases where the master is concerned, crazy torque? I mean, I haven't seen that. Look, I haven't ridden the wheels. So those who have ridden the wheels, what crazy advantages have you seen? That's so drastic that it blows 100-volt wheels out of the water. You know what I mean? I think Sherman or Leaperkim is playing it safe. They don't have experience with 134 or whatever volts you want to go. They're solid with the 100 volts. And why change something if it works? You know what I mean? I would have loved them to, go much higher, because one of my main complaints with the original Sherman was the torque off the line. But again, the torque off the line was kind of subjective, because at the time I had knobby tire. So if I had switched it over to like the street tire and I'd, tilt back the pedals a little bit like I normally like to ride, maybe the torque would have been better. I don't know. But that was all subjective. So we saw the race in what was his name? There was a guy who literally left. I believe it was in 4th place, and by the 2nd or 3rd round in the Amped Electric Games, he was like almost in 2nd. What was his name? He's a Russian dude. He's tall. Wow, his name is getting away from me. What's his name? Oh my gosh. I even rode with him at one point. My gosh. Dude, what is his name? There's a guy. Anybody knows his name? Putin. Putin. No, it's not Putin. It's Tarzan. Yes, Tarzan. So Tarzan had an amazing race in the electric games, and he was literally, I believe, in fourth place. And he had a Sherman. He had an OG. I'm not sure if it was an OG Sherman or a Max, but I believe it was an OG Sherman. And he was seated riding, and the guy literally almost came out in second place. But I honestly think the reason he was back there instead of front, because I rode with him before on my Tesla, and at the time he had the 84 volt MSX, so I think it was 100 volt MSX at the time. But I'm very aware of his riding styles, or his riding characteristics, his nature, his racing nature. I'm aware of it for that little short time that I was with him. So I noticed in the race, he started in the back, and I'm like, why did he start in the back? Usually Tarzan is gone. But I would imagine in my mind, if I were to make a guess, I could assume the reason he started out in the back, because he knew that the Sherman, this is all my guess now, is that the Sherman is not a really good wheel off the line. Off the line, you push that thing too hard, you will over torque it and you will crash. You will cut out. We saw that in the Apple Valley Speedway. I believe there was one guy who did cut out on his Sherman, one because of the wind. Second, I believe it was another one who over torqued it and it just cut out. We saw that in on the highway once in New York several times, where that wheel, you push it too hard, it's gonna cut out on you. So that's the reason I think that guy stayed in the back and then gradually pushed it until he almost got, pretty much first place. That wheel was very impressive. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like off the line, it's iffy, but once you start going gradually, that thing will take off. You know what I mean? Another thing is braking. Braking with the Sherman, the original Sherman, was a problem. So so maybe you have a point. Maybe you have a point about the 100 volt, but I'm not sure if that's the reason. It could be the reason. I think the more I talk, the more I'm realizing your point. So Captain Candy Corn, maybe you have a point there, because the older MSX, the gold wheels, they were 100 volts, but their dimensions were a little bit more portable, manageable, way more manageable than the original Sherman. The original Sherman was pretty heavy, 77 pounds compared to like 56 pounds with the older MSXs that were 100 volts. So proportionally speaking, I think you're right. Maybe a little bit more voltage would definitely help with the performance of the wheel, at least off the line. You know what I mean? So let's see what Brian Zoom Wheels has to say. Now, if anybody's going to say anything, it's Brian Zoom Wheels, because he's a racer. I'm hoping it's a top EUC. If it does 50 miles per hour, I'm getting it 100%. So apparently the top speed, the top free wheel spin that I have been able to look at on both eWheels, Zoom, Vrooming. That's an article we're going to read a little bit later. But Vrooming, they pretty much had a little article on it, and I looked at some of the specs on that wheel. It is 100 volts. Yes, it's 3,600 watt hours, and the free wheel spin is 64 miles per hour. So if it's like a Begode, then we know take 10 miles per hour from that, roughly, you're talking about 55 miles an hour, 54 miles per hour. You know what I mean? So I have no doubt that wheel will be able to do 50 miles an hour. I believe it uses the same battery as my EXN, and the EXN absolutely does 50 miles an hour, with 2,700 watt hour battery, and it's 100 volts. This thing is 3,600 watt hours, a lot more power, a lot more current. I believe it's 680 amps, okay, max. So I believe that thing will be able to hit 50, no problem. The weight is there. The proportions there. If you look at the tire, I'm not even sharing the screen with you guys. Hold on for a second. If you look at the tire on that thing, it's already a street tire, so let's see. Let's share the tab. Nope, let's share the window. All right, here we go. So here we go. So this is the wheel. It's a gorgeous looking wheel, guys. Gorgeous looking wheel. And you just really have to give it to Leaperkim, man. This thing looks amazing. And like I said, they went back to the original design cues that the Sherman was known for. If you look right over here on the side, you see just like design characteristics that is very unique to the Sherman. The material, I believe it's nylon. Well, I know this is nylon. Um, let's look at the specs here. If we scroll down, you can see it's magnesium side panels. Yes, so it's magnesium side panels, and the handle right here is lightweight, high strength nylon protective carrying handle. So unlike the original Sherman where it had guard rails, this one has just, and it's kind of funny. Everyone copies each other in various ways. So what you've seen is that, well, first of all, just look at this wheel. Oh my gosh, let's just take it in, guys. Like this wheel just looks freaking amazing. Okay, the wheel looks beautiful. Okay, I know people were asking for a front mudguard on the Master, and if you look after that request, Bigot didn't listen. Well, the V13 offers one. This one offers one, and you can see that here it's a different design, but the concept is pretty much the same as the V13 with the handlebar. And then the back part, you have a carrying. Okay, so it's called a carrying thing. So let me see what is the exact name. It says rear carrying handle and seat extension. So you can put something on here. How freaking awesome is that? So that's great. And then, I mean, you have the suspension right here, which is exactly that. Well, I wouldn't say it's exactly the same as the V13, but the concept is, again, very similar to the V13. And I think that's a better approach if you think about it. Now that we've had the chance to experience what it really is to have full-on suspension like a bike, with the KS20 and 22, with the Master Pro, et cetera, T4. Now that we've seen what it's like to have a true suspension, I think for the most part, the consensus is that unless you're doing crazy drops like what they did at the games, you really don't need that crazy amount of travel. I believe this one is 90 millimeter travel, so it's 10 millimeters more than that of the Master. Although a lot of people have been switching out their suspension with the Master because they complain about it bottoming out a lot. But the oh my gosh, I think that's what gets me is the look. It really gets to me. It just reminds me of the original Sherman. Okay, the design cues. So let me look at some more comments here real quick. So Brian Zoom Wheels. I think this thing is going to do 50 miles an hour, to be honest. And I honestly think it'll do it with no problems. 3,600 watt hours, 50E, the Samsung 50E cells. I don't know how much current. I'm not sure if it's 10 amps or 40 amps. I have no clue what the output is, but that would be interesting to find out. EUC Serbia, how's it going, man? Check out EUC Serbia for your EUC updates. I like his EUC updates. Every time you go there, you find something new about wheels. And that's probably how I learned about this one too. So I wouldn't be surprised. EUC, because in my video that I'm going to release for you guys, I have a ton of his videos in there. EUC Serbia, hope it's not one more Abrams. I don't think so. You see, the Abrams was just a different wheel. It was massive. From the onset, you had people like Sensei Vegan complaining about how big the motor is versus the battery. I mean, you could tell when a company starts cutting corners, and then when you cut corners in one area, it just transitions over into other areas, and then you have unexpected results. So, or should we say expected results, because you're cutting corners. The Abrams was a flop for sure. This wheel got him back. All right. So I had a poll that I had you guys fill out. Let me see if I could share this real quick. Actually, you know what? Hold on for a second. Yeah, so I had a poll I had you guys fill out, and I like the response. The response was pretty good. It looks like most of you guys agree that this wheel will pretty much restore, or at least help restore, the reputation of Leaperkim. And I agree with you. I think I agree with you guys. So where is that poll? Where is the poll? There we go. This thing is so slow, dude. That's my internet for you guys. All right. Pause that. Make this bigger. Nope. Actually, should I make this bigger? No, make it small. Oh gosh. It's not what I want. Go back. Make it smaller. There we go. And how did I do this before? I think I made this big. There we go. All right. Oh my goodness. It's huge. Hold on, guys. Okay, there we go. That's what I like to show. I like to show it like this. All right, so this was the poll I had you guys fill out, and it seems like most of us agree that this wheel is definitely going to bring Leaperkim back. Okay, I think the Sherman was so much of a great wheel that, I mean, look, let's consider this. The wheel doesn't even overheat, dude. Well, I don't know how hard people ride their wheels, but a lot of people I spoke to in New York say the wheel does not overheat. A lot of you responded to one of my overheating videos where the EXN just kept overheating. You kept saying, "Hey, get a Sherman, man. The Sherman does not overheat." I don't know how hard you guys ride your wheels, but I haven't heard a single person complain about the Sherman overheating, which is a good thing. And I have heard people complain about the EXN overheating. So, that goes to show that Leaperkim freaking is amazing. It's an amazing company. So the poll was, can the Sherman S redeem Leaperkim's reputation? Overwhelmingly, 60% of you said yes. 10% of you said no. 17% said I never doubted them. 12% of you said they have a long way to go. Oh man, I'm very curious to see what they mean, the 12%ers, because by saying that they have a long way to go kind of suggests that they don't know what they're doing. And I think they do know what they're doing. It's just that they somehow got caught up. Maybe they got caught up in the fact that, oh, we should release another wheel. And everyone's saying we should release another wheel. And they went ahead and tried to release the Abrams with massive failure. So maybe that's why. But whatever it is, I think they're going to do fantastic. I think they're going to be great. Okay, so let me go back to what I want to show you guys. So let me just go go over a few more comments, and then I will get to what I want to get to. Let's see. Okay, Brian Zoom wheels again. The Abrams, yep, we already said that. E. Simon says, good day, guys. I'm not, okay. EUC with Lucifer says, yo, E. Simon, you haven't run over any drop beers yet, have you? My lady says, hello. Let's see. Facebook user, I don't know who that is, but he says, too heavy for a 100-volt wheel, in my opinion. Now, how heavy is this wheel? I haven't even checked the weight. So let's see what the weight is on this thing. I'm not sure. Evils is not saying what it is, so I won't be able to tell what it is. Oops. Here we go. If anybody knows how heavy this thing is in the comments, let me know. It's 44 kilograms. Okay. I don't like kilograms, so let's see. 44 kilograms to pounds. How much is that? That is 97 pounds. Yee. I mean, it is heavy. I mean, think about it. You're adding an extra 400 watt hours to the battery. So the Sherman, the original Sherman, like I said, was 3,200. They added 400 pack. Then they have the suspension, which is a little bit less than the KS22, in my opinion, because it's like a bike suspension. I think that's really the only reason this thing is 97 pounds. Look, besides the T4, most wheels today are going to be heavy, it seems. For what we're asking for from these companies, it's just going to be heavy moving forward. That's just the reality. You know what I mean? So you have a few additions. You have the mudguard in the back. You have the master-like, not kickstand, but rest stand, as I like to call it. And then you have some cool, very cool features here. This thing right here, it's basically, a laser guided thing. Let's see what it is. Where is it? It's further down. Yeah. So you have these laser pointers right here that pretty much go. A lot of people actually bought this stuff of AliExpress before and put it on their wheels, but it's just interesting to see Sherman or Leaperkim put that on their wheel by default. You know, that's cool. You have awesome headlights. I'm not sure how many lumens, but everything is just fantastic on that. I love the look of that wheel. You have the the LCD screen there. What I don't like though is the trolley handle. So apparently this thing is the trolley handle. It looks very cumbersome in my opinion. But let's get into a video I prepared for you guys, and then we'll start the show and go from there. All right. So it may be too heavy, but there's a lot we're asking for. So EUC Lucifer says he used right. EUC Tester retired the S20 killer tag. Yes, I did because I didn't want to just keep putting it, keep beating a dead horse. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. What I change it to? I change it to Ustrat EUC Tester. Yes, and that's what I am. I'm a tester, and I hope to test more wheels, but in due time. So let's get this video going real quick, and then we'll get back to it. Okay. Let's do it. All right, guys. So Leaperkim has entered the suspension market in an attempt to regain the love and trust that we initially had for the company before they went south with the disaster that was the Abrams. This new suspension wheel from Leaperkim appears to be exactly what we've been looking for in several categories, which include weight, height, overall size and dimensions, battery capacity, speed and torque, motor, quality where material is concerned, amenities such as the laser warning light, and a lot more. Patiently waiting in the background and strategically planning on how to re-enter the sphere in a big but satisfactory way, Leaperkim, at least on paper, appears to have delivered. The Sherman S is not too over the top and yet in no way looks underwhelming in any way. My first impression with the original Sherman was that its build quality was bar none for the performance that was being delivered. Like the name suggested, this was a tank of a wheel, but in no way ugly. It was extremely attractive, yet way more practical than many of the wheels that came before it, minus the weight. But by today's standards, the Sherman S seems to fit right snug in between the V13 Challenger, which is a monstrosity of a wheel with only 3,024 watt-hours at 110 pounds, and extremely tall, and the Master, which appears to be at a similar height and dimensions. However, the Sherman S has a protective shell, handlebars, and a maintenance-free suspension system. This is probably the best approach that Leaperkim could have taken to play it safe, since both Kingsong and Begode already have many complaints about their suspension systems, and it hasn't even been a year yet. Anyway, the most important factor of all is the 3600 watt-hour battery that the Sherman is known for. Rated at 100.8 volts, the Sherman S pulls far away from the bad memory and experience that was the Abrams, and seems to be putting that far, far behind them. Now, if Leaperkim can take their time and, like the Sherman, deliver yet another solid build, they have a massive chance of fixing their reputation in this sphere. So, are you guys excited for the Sherman S? I know I am. Please leave your comments and let me know. Now let's talk about this. Wow. What a fantastic wheel. And that's what I expected from Leaperkim. I expected them to be testing that thing like crazy, unlike the Abrams. They test it. We're seeing a lot of testing. Almost every other day, we're seeing some new shorts from them. So let's see. Zen Lee. Wow. Shout out to Zen Lee. Holy smokes. Zen Lee's here. All right. Zen Lee's the man. Wow. He's the one. This guy is consistent with his videos. When did he start talking? Sensei Vegan. Wow. Sensei Vegan. How's it going, man? Wow. Hello, everyone. Real talk. Is 100 volt EUC out of date? No, I do not think personally, I don't think 100 volt wheel is out of date. In fact, I don't think we've really pushed 100 volt to its optimum performance, or, besides before going on to crazier, more higher voltage wheels. a lot of these higher voltage wheels haven't really been tested properly anyway. So why go with something unknown? You know what I mean? Serious, you barely hear the fan on the Sherman compared to the EXN. That's awesome, dude. This is awesome. I'm building something now, so let's see how that turns out. But let's see what Zenly has to say. Zenly says hi to Sensei. I'm curious to see what he says because he writes a lot. So I haven't been writing recently, guys, because family affairs. But I only write 2 days, maybe roughly 2 days in the week right now. So let's see. Cruise Control, Peace Sensei, great video on the batteries catching fire. I haven't seen that one. I'll have to watch that. Let's see. Bunsy Boys. I love my Sherman. Only thing missing is suspension, so can't wait. I know. I remember my EUC on me. I forgot his name. MeUC on my EUC. He rides to work all the time with his Sherman, so this would be a great addition for him. Zenly says, I don't know. Master 20 pounds lighter. Yeah, Master is 20 pounds lighter. But here's the thing. Master has no shell. It has no shell. And if you're planning on taking the Master off-roading, you're going to crash that thing. And you're going to encounter issues unless you buy that fairing from wherever you get it, including Clark pads. Also, the Master is only 2,400 watt hours. We're talking about 3,600 watt hours here. And 20 pounds lighter, that's not a deal breaker in my opinion. Zenly, if we were talking racing wheels, this ain't it in my opinion. Probably not, but I don't know. It's about the same dimensions as the Master. So I don't know. I'm very curious to find out. Spartacus, it's a range wheel, not a race wheel. That's why they went with 100 volts. And I was mentioning that in the beginning. I was saying in the beginning, the problem I had with the Sherman, the original Sherman, was that off the line, it just didn't have good pickup. But once you started going with it, it was very good in acceleration. So another thing to observe here is how this thing comes. It appears to come with somewhat of a street tire. I'm not sure, but I think you have an option. You can ask, which wheel you want, but it does look knobby, but it does look a little bit more rounded compared to the other knobbies that I'm used to. So I don't know. This is a 3D rendering. So I'm curious to see what they're going to release it with. But Zenly says he was talking about it racing terms earlier. Yeah, I was talking about that. All right, so let's see. Cruise control, he says I wonder if the center of gravity will be a problem when making. I don't know, man. This one's going to be. This looks really well balanced to me, in my opinion. It really does. I'm just glad they didn't go the route of the V13, and I'm really glad they didn't go the route of the Abrams. This wheel is back to basics. You know what I mean? This is a back to basics wheel, if you ask me. They didn't do too much. All they did was add mudguard in the front, mudguard in the back, a rest stand, and the bike-like suspension. That's all they did, and added 400 watt hours. That's pretty much it. I don't really see too much going on here. The light is pretty much similar to the original Sherman, just with a little bit more corners. It looks like it's adjustable, in my opinion, but I'm not sure. But oh man, let's look at the specs for a little bit. So if we look at eWheels, we'll see that it's $1,000 deposit. So if you go to eWheels, I'm not sure if it's the same with Alien Rides, but it's $1,000 deposit. Expected release price is $4,150. So after your deposit, it'll be $3,150. First arrivals expect to ship out from the US in late November. Tentative specifications, 3,600 watt hour battery pack with the Samsung 50E battery cell. So a few other wheels that's in this category of performance that have the same 50E battery cells is the Sherman, the Commander, the EXN, the Master, Master Pro, Master X. These are all high performance wheels. My main concern is to find out what output in terms of current it produces or is able to output. This one has, let's see, a 3,000 high torque motor. Okay, so this is a high torque motor, it appears. I'm not interested in high torque motors, but if this high torque motor seems to be doing 50 miles an hour, I'm fine with that, because one thing I did not like on my high speed MSP and my torque, I'm sorry, my high-speed EXN is that when I go to brake real hard, I can hear the motor skip. You know what I mean? And I'm not too. I'm obviously I know these wheels pretty well, so I have adjusted my riding habits to accommodate for that. But there are times where I'm riding my EXN and I'm riding real fast, and someone comes in the way, and I'm thinking of slowing down. I'm thinking of going fast, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just slow down. And I purposely don't slow down fast enough because I know this thing is going to slip and I could have it possibly go away from me because it cuts out. But, I will hear it skip, but I never experienced that on my torque MSP. But then again, the torque MSP does only 40 miles an hour. And I'm pretty much for the most time riding 37 miles an hour. So if you're riding at like close to 48, 50 miles an hour, dude, and you happen to want to do emergency braking, you're going to have to pretty much, assume ahead of time that you're going to brake. So other than that, a torque motor at 50 miles per hour, similar to that of the Master, is a good option. Yes, because chances are you won't be hearing that. And because it's a torque motor, that kind of probably makes up for off-the-line racing, because I'm not sure if the original Sherman was a torque or high speed. What was it? Does anybody know? Let's see. The no-load speed here is rotational 6. I said that earlier, 64 miles per hour, not riding speed. I like that they put this here, not riding speed, because back then I don't think people understood what that meant. When I think most people, when they saw 64 miles per hour no load rotational speed, I think people just parse out the no load part and they see 64 miles per hour and they're like, oh, this thing does 64 miles an hour. No, it does not. It does not. Maybe they should stop putting that. I don't know. But I'm glad they put not riding speed, because that's going to make it really clear for everybody. Anyway, you have the all new electronics controller with 24 MOSFETs with 680 amp peak hours. I'm sorry, peak load. That's versus the V13 where it's 1,000 amps. Okay, so the V13 has 1,000 amps peak load, and this is 680 amps. Wow, that's a lot of amps. The adjustable suspension shock system with rebound to 90 millimeters of travel. That's plenty. If the Master was good and the V11 was good, the V13 is good, this is great. So, and again, the size of the wheel is really what I'm into here. Choice of 20-inch knobby or street. I would automatically go for the street. Absolutely. And then you have the upgraded look, more robust. Oh my gosh, this is what's really getting me, is the design of this wheel. I mean, I think it's just so much to take in, you know what I mean? It's so good looking. I just can't take it all in right now. And because it's a 3D render, I remember back in the days when the Sherman was a 3D render, I was like, man, this is the most ugliest wheel ever. And then when it came out, I'm like, holy smokes, this thing is beautiful. I think the only other company that has really good quality build like this is InMotion. But InMotion is not a rugged design. InMotion is nice, smooth curves. You know what I mean? This is, and plain really, but this is rugged. Everything about it is like a freaking tank. So hence the name Sherman. But what else? So let's look at some of the specs here. You have the overview of the Sherman S features. Okay, some of the features, part one. So earlier we talked about the lightweight, high-strength nylon protective carrying handle. And, you know, I used to say the bigger the wheels get, the less practical they become. The bigger this is not a big wheel, but it is heavy, as someone stated earlier. It's 97 pounds. But you have these handles, and that's very helpful. These are basic things that should, you know, be part of every heavy, maybe unless you're a monster, because you're not going to carry the monster. But the V13 is probably as big as the monster, and it has that. That's fine. And then you have the all-new integrated display with more data telemetry. So I'm not sure what they mean by that, but there's more data telemetry. I don't know. Dual-purpose flip. I think that's the only part I've said, like I said earlier, that I'm not going to like, is this handle, this trolley handle. Picking up that, I don't know. I might not like it. I'm not sure. But hey, you can't ask for too much. So far, that's the only thing that's really irking me. Then you have the rear mudguard fitted as standard. Okay, so that's a standard thing. What else? Oh yeah, and the suspension. So this thing is exposed, just like a bicycle, like a mountain bike. This is exposed. So if you're this is a really good transition if you think about it for mountain bikers who want to get into this. Not saying that the other suspension systems were, was something hard for them to figure out, but this is actually really simple to figure out. You just adjust it how you want by turning it. The overview of the Sherman components. This is part 2. So here we have a lighter, more powerful motor. It uses a magnesium alloy material. Okay. The last time I heard a company talk about more lighter, more powerful motor was I believe the KS20 and the V12. And then somebody put it to the test and it broke. So I'm not really into these designations of lighter, more powerful. I want to see it for myself. But anyway, that's what it is. You have a 3 kilowatt nominal and 7 kilowatt peak. So far, the V13 is crazier than all these wheels. Stronger reinforced motor rim. Choice of a knobby. Okay, we already talked about this. And what else is important to note here? So this seems to be similar to both the Master and the V13 in its design. You have the bottom part with the MOSFETs and then the top part with the power and the capacitors. So the phase wires mounted on pure copper columns for improved conductivity, independent power sources, and so which probably tells me these batteries are in parallel. Let's see, separated communication and driver boards, 24 TO247 MOSFETs. It seems like they're all using the same type of MOSFETs. And then this part, the constructed high-strength magnesium alloy, 320-pound max load, adjustable with spike pedals. Cool. Now, this part right here, okay, so this part where you have, I'm not sure why this is necessary. Like, why is it coming out and in like that? I feel like this inner rods could possibly be a problem because then you affect the integrity of the strength of the pedal if you have this thing just sticking out like that. I don't know. It's really strange to me. But overall, guys, just look at this beauty. Holy moly. That looks like now, this is what I want the goat to become. Okay, if you were to ask me what I would like, because I like the goat so much, right? If you were to ask me what would I like the goat, okay, what is this? I think the turning will be great. That's what Zenly says. The turning will be great. I wonder what the height of the pedal is, though. But in terms of final build quality, this is what I want the goat to be like. Build your wheels like that it looks like a finished product. You know what I mean? That is quality, man. Holy smokes. I mean, look at this. Yes, it's a 3D rendering, but it's a 3D rendering that's as close to real as possible. Look at this. This is beautiful, guys. This is what I'm talking about. So far, there are just 2 companies that build products that look like finished products, and that is Leaperkim and InMotion. These are the only 2. Kingsong, so-so. Kingsong's doing better than the GOAT, that's for sure. But if I were to choose 2 companies that build wheels that look like a completely final product with no more modifications to make, it's Leaperkim and InMotion, for sure. So let's look at some of your comments, and we'll keep going. Let's see. So most of you think this is not a racing wheel. I think any wheel can be a racing wheel not any wheel, but any high performance wheel can be a racing wheel depending on how, what your riding style is. Okay, so Cruise Control says, I wonder if the center, okay, we talked about that. I think this is a well-proportioned wheel. RG says, dedicate your fronts to Chinese engineering. Does he mean funds? Zen Lee, it's just the torque and top end will be lacking versus the Master Pro. You mean because it's 100 volts? Probably. Yeah, I think so too. But I don't know. It's a torque wheel though. So I don't know. I don't know. And if it's 20 pounds heavier than the Master, then everything counts, I guess. But again, the most important thing I like about this wheel is that they stuck to the shell design. Okay, these wheels are gonna crash. You're gonna crash them. You're gonna drop them. It just feels, like one issue we saw with the Master was the protective part where the battery is. That was very, very finicky. You know, the wheel crashes and then it cracks. You know, the case for the battery cracks. It's crazy. This, you have a complete shell, so you don't have to worry about that. And it looks like the battery is enclosed in the shell too. If you look up close, you'll see that the battery looks like it's enclosed. I wish they had talked more about it, but they didn't. Let's see. EUC Vibes, how's it going? EUC Vibes. Zenly says the V13. I'm not sure if he's saying the V13 is great. RG says we still don't have swappable battery packs, but we're paying 4.5K. Now, I never understood that swappable battery pack thing. What do you mean? Like, do you want to buy an extra battery pack and then just slap it on? I mean, I honestly can't even buy a battery pack right now independently anyway. So, because honestly, the most expensive part with any EUC is, well, there are three expensive parts, but the top two expensive parts would be the battery and the motor. So in that order, you have the battery, the motor, and the control board. That's the most expensive part of any EUC. So I haven't gone. eWheels does not sell battery packs. Alien Rides, I'm sure if you contact them individually and ask them specifically for that, you might get it. But I haven't seen it on their product page or anything like that. So Master will destroy Sherman S off-road. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I think so, 100%. I don't think, again, do you see anything about this wheel that says it's meant for racing or it's meant for off-roading or anything? I don't see anything. I see nothing here that says that. But in terms of the design, you know, that's the only thing that would kind of give me a hint at why this was designed. You know what I mean? Versus the Sherman, versus the Master and the KS20, where, you know, these things were obviously for off-roading and obviously for racing. This thing just seems to be a good all-around wheel. This is like a Sherman, because a Sherman is really not good at racing. It's really not good at off-roading, but it's really good at cruising, and it's very comfortable. And it's very good in terms of long range. So I think that's where they're going with this. I don't think this is a purposeful design. This is not a design that is specific to any one thing. I think this is an all-around design that anybody can buy if they're interested. It's not geared toward racing. It's not geared toward off-roading. You can definitely tell, though, it is geared toward riding. Okay, back to basics once again. It's geared toward cruising, riding for long distances. That's what I think about when I see this wheel. I like the V13 in the sense that it's a beautiful design. I like the fact that InMotion made it, but it's too big. It's way too big. It's cumbersome. This thing at 3,600 watt hours, holy smokes, man, with a beautiful design. It's just a nice, and it's cheaper. It's cheaper than the V13. So, or should I say more affordable? So there you go. So you have a lot of companies already undercutting the V13. And whoever, I would like to see the V13 in real life. I want to see what type of buyer is going to get this thing. Anyway, let's keep going here with your comments. Let's see. Cruise Control says, I think they should have wrapped the roll cage all the way around like the original Sherman. Yeah, but you know, I don't have much to say about that. I think this shell is some type of metal. So if you look at this shell right here, this is not, I don't believe this is plastic. Okay. So that's probably the reason why they did not wrap it completely with aluminum or whatever material they use. This is a magnesium side panel. So what is magnesium, guys? Let's compare. Let's do this. Magnesium versus plastic. Okay. So it says die-cast magnesium parts typically outperform plastics by delivering stronger and greater. Oh, you guys can't see that? All right, hold on. There you go. So this is what it says about magnesium. Well, it says die-cast magnesium, but I'm going to go with it. Die-cast magnesium parts typically outperform plastics by delivering stronger and greater wear resistance than plastic. Superior stiffness, as plastic often requires significant reinforcing, greater impact resistance, and energy absorbing capacity. So there you go. You have it looks like they really gave this a lot of thought. Okay, they gave this a whole lot of thought. So if we look up again, magnesium versus plastic, okay, we see that upon superficial examination, plastic can appear quite appealing, primarily because of the reduction in weight and the initial cost comparison. Upon closer inspection, however, those advantages can quickly evaporate. Compared to die-cast magnesium parts, plastic parts are often subject to dimensional stability issues, surface deterioration, fit issues due to temperature changes, and a lack of rigidity. Die-cast magnesium parts typically outperform plastics by delivering stronger and greater wear resistance than plastic, superior stiffness, as plastic often requires significant reinforcement. We already said that. We already read that. And great impact resistance and energy absorbing capacity. I think what I like about this is the energy absorbing capacity. Yes. So unlike plastic, this thing, so with plastics, when you have impact with plastic, what happens is you usually have shatter. And we usually see that with the with Gotway wheels. With most Gotway wheels, most people are afraid that once this thing touches the ground, you have an explosion of parts. We saw that with the MSX. We saw that with the Tesla, the original Tesla. We saw that with the Monster in the cutout tunnel with, I forgot his name, but Kamikaze Joe. Exactly. So we saw all these things with the characteristics of plastic. So I'm not a plastic fan. And when Sherman came, I wonder what material the original Sherman was, because that also was a beautifully designed piece of material. But if they're saying this is magnesium, here you go. Here's the difference between the two. So I have no complaints there. No complaints at all. So yeah, there you go. That's your answer. So yeah, I think that's the reason they did not incorporate the rail all around the wheel, because the handle, the front part of the handle and the back part of the handle, they're performing a dual role. The first role, just like the original Sherman, as a handle, and then the magnesium side panels is pretty much taking the place of that roll cage. So overall, you might get some scratches, but you know what you're not going to get? You're not going to get splattering all over the place like you do with big oat wheels. So there you go. That's a plus right there, in my opinion. Okay, so E. Simon says, need range for group rides. The S22 riders were babying their bat. Thank you, dude. Felt like the old days of 84 group rides. So here's the thing, right? This is one thing I noticed about the KS22 range test wheels. Okay, hold on, guys. My boy is waking up. Hold on for a second. Why don't you guys just hang out and watch this video again? All right, guys. So Leaperkim has entered the suspension market in an attempt to regain the love and trust that we initially had for the company before they went south with the disaster that was the Abrams. This new suspension wheel from Leaperkim appears to be exactly what we've been looking for in several categories, which include weight, height, overall size and dimensions, battery capacity, speed and torque, motor, quality where material is concerned, amenities such as the laser warning light, and a lot more. Patiently waiting in the background and strategically planning on how to re-enter the sphere in a big but satisfactory way, Leaperkim, at least on paper, appears to have delivered. The Sherman S is not too over the top and yet in no way looks underwhelming in any way. My first impression with the original Sherman was that its build quality was bar none for the performance that was being delivered. Like the name suggested, this was a tank of a wheel, but in no way ugly. It was extremely attractive. All right, yes, it was extremely attractive indeed. And it's still attractive. But all right, so we've handled that situation. Can you guys hear me? One in the chat if you can hear me. One in the chat if you can hear me. Usually when I walk away, this thing tries to do its thing. One in the chat if you guys can hear me, please, and then we'll continue the show. Lost connection. All right, see, that's what I meant. it does this weird thing. Let me make sure I'm good to go. Okay, thanks. You can hear me. Input, output. Okay, let me take care of this. Hold on for a second, guys. Hold on, I'll be right back. Goodness gracious. What is this? All right, I was having technical difficulties. Okay, one in the chat if you can hear me. One in the chat if you can hear me. I tried doing an audio test, but I can't hear myself. One in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, so you can hear me. All right. Seems like you can hear me. Let me see if I can hear myself. Fit right snug in between. One in the chat. Seems like you can hear me. All right, okay. Sorry, guys. I had to do this. My lives are never 100%. I'm always having some type of funny technical difficulties. But that's all right. Let's continue with the live. So what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by this machine is that the diecast seems to be a very good addition to this Sherman S. And this shows that what I like about the Leaperkim is that they gradually build. They don't do crazy unnecessary mods or crazy unnecessary upgrades. Unlike Begode. I mean, Begode, for example, what I like about Begode is that they're able to release wheels on the spot, like just like that. You want range, we give you range. Oh, it's too heavy, let's reduce it. You want a smaller one, we give you a smaller one. But in that process, what they do is they don't really do the quality control that is needed in order to have a well-rounded, solid build, or a good solid build. What they end up doing is releasing something on a whim, and while it may be good initially or for a specific purpose, you unfortunately have to buy other parts such as the fairing, etc., etc., in order to have it as the solid build that you expected it to be. So we saw some issues too. Oh my gosh, how can I forget about that? You have the issue with the waterproofing. The master has major issues with waterproofing. You know what I mean? You can't ride this thing in the rain. This, I don't see an issue with riding in the rain. I think you're not gonna have a bad time riding in the rain with this. But you know what's interesting? I don't see anything here regarding IPX rating. I see nothing with IPX rating. Does anyone know if this is waterproofed or not? I mean, just by looking at it, I can tell that it probably is, but I can't really say that for sure because I don't see anything here that states that for a fact. You know what I mean? So anyone in the chat can tell me if this thing is waterproof and what is the rating with this thing. Can anybody tell me? Anyone at all? Does anyone know if this is waterproof? Zenli, do you know if this is waterproof? Let's see. Sirius says, Lee, I can see that, but okay, I'm not sure what he's talking about. I'll have to go back up. But does anybody know if this, Zenli says, yes, totally revolutionary for EUC. Anyone know if the Sherman S is a waterproofed or water resistant? Well, I know it's water resistant, but is it waterproof? And what's the rating? Does anybody know the rating? Anybody? Does anybody know the rating of this wheel? No? Okay, so no one's answering, which tells me that nobody knows. So yeah, I don't see that on here, which tells me that this is missing information that we are going to need. But you know what? Let's see. Eagles usually has a question and answer section, but I don't see this one. New details will be posted onto a frequently asked section as they become available. Okay, so they're still trying to find out if this thing... Can you guys hear me? Because I don't think... Oh, okay. This person says, Sirius says, I don't think the waterproof information is out on it. Okay, cool. So it doesn't seem like the waterproof information is out yet on this. Okay, that's fine. We'll find out at some point. But for all intents and purposes, guys, this thing absolutely looks like it's a waterproof wheel for sure. I mean, look at it right here. If you look over here, like I said, the battery seems to be encased, okay, within the wheel. Okay, this is the tire. The wheel itself is just completely independent, and then you have everything in here. So I can't imagine this not being waterproof, especially with the LCD being outside like that. So there you go. I think it is. Well, I'm curious to see. I wanted to see a real test on this. But like I said, what I like about Leaperkim is that they slowly release information. They slowly release updates. They slowly build on what was previously working. Somehow they went the wrong direction with the Abrams, but that's okay. That's all forgiven. Let's just see them release this beautiful beast of a wheel, and I will be extremely satisfied. Now, out of all these wheels, so let me see if I could create a poll here while we're at it. Let's try to create a poll while we're at it, shall we? Let's see if I can create a new poll here. Can I create a poll? Oh, I have to close this poll first. Okay, so most of you agree that this wheel will definitely bring back, or at least help restore, the credibility of or reputation of Leaperkim. So in light of this wheel being announced, the Sherman S, which wheel are you now likely to get if you haven't gotten one yet? Okay. Which, am I sharing? Okay, hold on. You guys can't even see stuff. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hold on. All right, here we go. We're going to create a beautiful poll, and we're going to find out what people are more likely or is more likely to get. Okay. What will be your next wheel? Simple question. We're going to have Sherman S. Sherman S. I'm not going to put the Master Pro in here because the Master Pro is, or should I put it? I don't know. Okay, Sherman S. in Motion V13. Okay, in Motion V13, Master Pro. I'm just going to say Master Pro. That's if you haven't gotten a wheel yet. Okay, this poll is for people who have not gotten a wheel yet. Okay, so I'm gonna put, and I think that's it. I have only 4. I can only add 4. So go ahead, guys, poll away. Okay, let's see what you guys choose. Okay, so check out the poll section and please vote. Okay, what will be what? Okay, this is just the first few seconds. I'm gonna wait. I don't get too excited here. All right, I'll tell you what my wheel is going to be after you guys have already put your polls. But I was on the fence. I was so on the fence. I really wanted the Master. Okay, I really wanted the Master. I really wanted the Abrams. I wanted the Commander. I was going to choose one of these wheels. I was going to choose the Commander because of the range and the speed. I was going to choose possibly the KS20 if it had come out how they had intended to come out. I was definitely going to get that wheel. I was going to get the Abrams because I just like, the build. What looked like amazing build quality to me, but then the 2400 watt hour made no. I was like, what the frick is going on? And then the Master, just the shell, no shell. I mean, I love the performance. The rubber encompassing the entire top, that made no sense to me because if I do crash this thing, that rubber is gone. Then I just imagine myself having to either pre-order a bunch of rubber parts just chilling in the house, or once I drop it, then I'm gonna have to wait like a couple months oh my gosh. Then the fairing came out and I'm like, man, that fairing looks amazing. Then I found out the cost of it and I'm like, wow, like this is going to be close to a $5,000 wheel once I'm done. So I held back, and it's not like I had the money anyway, but guys, you know how it is. If you really want a wheel, you're going to find the money. You know what I'm saying? So, so I held off. I held off for a while. On top of that, I said to myself a long time ago, never get a first batch wheel. Why would you get a first batch wheel when there's potential for all kinds of issues? Shout out to the guys. Shout out to a lot of the guys out there who have first batch wheels because they're the reasons these wheels end up being better and better. I can't be in that category of purchasing first batch wheels because I'm just not that. I don't have deep pockets. You know what I mean? I have a family now. Maybe back then when I didn't have a family, yeah, I could, bang, bang, bang. But I can't, dude. I can't. I'm walking on edges here. But I like to do a ton of research before. I like to do a ton of research. I like to see a lot of reviews. I like to see the final. What I like to see is when the wheel is first released, there will be issues. We expect issues. But what I want to see is a gradual, reduction of these issues and a satisfactory response from these manufacturers on how they respond to these issues. That's what I like to see. And you unfortunately don't see that in the first year, at least the first half of the release, like first 3 months, first 6 months. You unfortunately don't see that response. But over time, you begin to see that response. Sometimes you begin to see that, wow, these companies don't even care about this. Wow, these companies are releasing software updates up the wazoo. Wow, people are no longer complaining about cutouts. Okay, the shell is better. Wow, I remember I did that for the Tesla. When I wanted the Tesla, I really wanted that wheel. The very first issue with the Tesla was the shell. The shell was a problem, dude. It was a problem. That thing was like paperweight. And so when they upgraded the shell, the version 2 was just on par and people were raving about it. That's when I got in. I'm like an investor, dude. I get in at the right time, and that's exactly when I got my Tesla, and I never regretted it. Then same thing with the 84 volt MSX. Then with the MSP. Then so that's how I purchased wheels. Then with the EXN, I really wanted an EXN, but I didn't know much about the EXN. And then now, except for the overheating, I heard about it, but I wasn't really that into it. But now with the Master, if I purchased a Master right now and I crashed that thing, come on, man. That would be very disappointing to break the case of the battery, to break the top part, to break come on. The light in the back when Jimmy Chan was testing it, that would have been very disappointing, dude. Very disappointing. So now I'm chilling here and I'm looking at the Sherman S and I'm like, holy smokes, that is what I'm talking about. A wheel like that is what I'm talking about. A wheel that has complete, a full body, and it's pretty much going back to the design that was the original show, the OG Sherman. So let me look at the polls here, and it looks like, wow, really? Holy smokes. Wow. So you guys are still polling. You're still polling. But 52% of you so far are choosing the Sherman S over all these other wheels, the V13, the Master, the Master Pro. Interesting. And I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to guess the reason so far the Sherman S is trending is because the Sherman S is back to basics. Okay, that's my guess. That is why I'm guessing that you guys are choosing the Sherman S. It's back to the basics. Yes, it's 97 pounds. Yes, it's not necessarily a racing wheel, but come on, you can race any wheel depending on how you decide to race and who you're racing with or in what conditions you're racing in. It has a shell design. It has lift handles. It has the beautiful lasers in the back. The light is great. And no data on the light, no data on the lumens of the light. But I feel it's a wheel that is back to basics. And I honestly think that's why you guys are choosing the Sherman S, is because, number one, it has a good reputation with the original Sherman, the OG Sherman. And now you have, yes, it had a bad go with the Abrams, but I think most people just saw that coming from the get-go. We're just going to cross that off our list like it never happened. But I think with the Sherman S, they're going to revamp it. They're going to come back and they're going to say, yes, we're going to revamp our reputation with that wheel. And I don't see too much flack. I don't see too much nonsense going on. I don't see unnecessary body panels or unnecessary things added. Most people said that the Sherman rails were not even that helpful. If you go to New York, I see Turbo EUC, he has his gone. His is completely off the wheel because the shell, I guess, is sufficient enough. I don't know how it went out. I think he bent it and he couldn't bend it back to fit, but he was content with how it looked. So yeah. And besides, if they had added that, it would be more weight, It's just, I'm sure it's a lot easier to work with not having it. So 52% of you say Sherman S, 16% of you. So, okay, let's go back to the question. What will be your next wheel? Okay, 52% of you say Sherman S, In Motion V13, 16% of you say, 8% of you say Master, 24% of you say Master Pro. And this is cool, man. This is cool. I would really like to know why you guys are choosing what you're choosing here. And I don't know how to do that except for you putting it in the comments. But let me look at some of your comments here before I keep going. Suspension. Okay. So Zenly says suspension looks perfect for EUC. I prefer fork type like V11 and EX. Actually, Zenly, you did say that. You did say that before. You were mentioning a long time ago how you don't understand why people didn't like the original EX. You said that in one of the videos that you absolutely love the EX design, and a lot of people didn't. So I could see you. Yeah, I could see you definitely hopping on that wheel. Okay, Sirius says Leaperkim is Apple, Bigode is Android. That is correct. That is correct. Because look, Apple, it's all enclosed. It's all complete. You can't go in there, play with anything. It's all set. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can go in there, but you don't want to get in there. Bigode, you have to open it up. You got to go in there. You got to toy with it. Right now, I'm building something to, help it reduce the temperature. so that when I'm pushing it hard, nothing goes crazy, it doesn't blow up or anything like that. But that's just a known thing with Begode. Man, the day Begode releases a wheel that's on par with InMotion V30 with the InMotion and Leaperkim, holy smokes! I think a lot of people will jump ship from like InMotion and all these other companies. But again, Begode, it's not just design; it's your build quality as well in terms of your interior, your internal stuff. So I'm going to end this poll. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong area. So I'm going to end this poll. Awesome. Great job, guys. Great job on this poll. Make this a little smaller. There we go. All right. So Zenly says Leaperkim is like one hit wonder right now, unfortunately. But but let's see. Let's see. With the release of this Sherman S, hopefully they will redeem themselves. And I think we will. And I think my EUC journey agrees with you. He says exactly, because it's true. The Sherman Max is not really a new wheel. The Sherman Max is literally a Sherman Plus. The Sherman Max is a Sherman Plus. All they did was upgraded the firmware. All they did was added 400 extra watt hours of battery, and there's really not much difference. But that's good. That's good. Pace it. Take your time. I'd rather the EUC community get mad at you for not releasing a wheel as fast as the others, and then release a good wheel, rather than doing what you did with the Abrams, release a wheel quick because you're like, oh, we got to catch up. No. There's no rush. There's no rush. Take your time and release a good product. Okay, we already have a crazy amount of products that's not good. So one and done. One and done. That's hilarious. Hopefully not, man. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Cyrus says, Zen Lee, I can see that, but it was really good hit though. Yes. It was one of those old musics from the 80s or maybe from the 60s that, that's still valid today. You know what I mean? Or the old BMWs that still work today, like when you first bought it, and the materials are still really good. Cruise Control says at Zen, is fork suspension better than the AirShock EX22? Zen Lee says, yes, totally evolutionary for, he's talking about something else. Totally evolutionary for EUC. Yes. I like that word. I like the evolutionary process of Leaperkim. I don't want them to, I feel like, they can be a freaking great company where at some point they'll focus on speed and stuff like that. Right now, speed is there. That's the first thing they came out with. They didn't diddle-daddly around. They came out with a wheel that was able to hit 50 miles an hour, although not recommended, but they were able to do it. But at some point, I could see them really going in the area of racing and stuff like that to compete with the likes of the Master. Right now, this is a cruiser. Okay, like you said, this is a cruiser. I could see it being an off-roading wheel. I absolutely see it being an off-roading wheel, but at 97 pounds, less likely so. As a daily thing. Zen Lee, cruise. Okay, he's speaking to Cruise Control. For racing on windy, speedways and hairpin mountain turns, I think the fork suspension is best. For jumps, S22 type. Correct. Again, this is where the S22 shined. The S22 shined with jumps. That's what it was built for. I mean, yeah. Everything else, it wasn't really that good. And even in jumps, it's an issue. Because, like I said in my other video, even Mike Leahy said, you shouldn't push on it. You should gradually go up the incline because you could cut it out. And I have seen several videos of that wheel cutting out, especially on landing. Holy smokes. Some crazy crashes there with that wheel. The KS22, that is. So it's just funny that the KS22 came in with all the fanfare, right? And it just slowly faded away. Yes, it burned. And then they tried to create the S22 so that people will forget the S20. But then that fanfare that was, that people expected, the performance that people expected, it was never there. It was never there because that was just not their area of expertise. So EUC with Lucifer says, put a hefty lawn bag over it and you'll hear until you hear otherwise. That's hilarious. I know, right? I don't think that they will release this wheel without first telling us how whether or not it's waterproof or not. So Sirius says, hopefully the waterproofing is at least like the OG at the very least. Yep, exactly. Very true. Okay, Bunsy Boys. You wouldn't drive your Bentley through the woods. Have you seen Top Gear? But you're right. The average person wouldn't. RG, I drive yours through the I'll drive yours through the wood, not mine, but yours for sure. Donovan Ward says, I don't know if I like the new trolley. I don't either. I don't like it. But you know what? If that's all we have to worry about, so what? You know, that's not a big deal. Zen Lee, my doubts for Sherman S is not enough voltage for 3,000. Not enough. Oh, okay, sorry, saying not enough voltage for 3,000 watt motor in 44 kg over 97 kg. Body may result in some cutouts at high margins of torque. Okay, I could see that. But it has a 3,600 watt hour battery though. So I think there's a wheel we can compare to this, Zenly. If we go to e-wheels, actually, I don't know. They don't have it. We'll have to go to UCO. If we go to UCO, the wheel I'm going to compare this to, because a lot of you are talking about the 100 volt, but I haven't seen anyone, well, I haven't seen a lot of videos, but I need to see a real comparison in terms of performance versus 100 volts versus 100 plus volts. So if we look at the Monster is 100 volt. Okay, the Monster Pro is 100 volt wheel. Okay, so I don't hear a lot of cutouts with the Monster Pro, and it's a 100 volt wheel, and it's a 3,600 watt hour battery. Now, how big is that motor? I think that motor is it's 3,500 watt motor. Okay. So that's a 3,500 watt motor. What's the motor on this Sherman S? The Sherman S is it's a 3,000. I think that's what's the weight? What's the weight of the Monster Pro? Okay, I don't see it. Where's the weight of the Monster Pro? Battery, max range, motor. Where's the weight? Okay. All right. Anyway, that's funny they don't have the weight there. Where is the weight? Speed King and Range King. I expected them to have the weight, but no weight. Anyway, sorry guys, I need to find the weight. Let's see, Monster Pro weight. So the Monster Pro is 80. Wow. Are you serious? You see, that's why I like Bagode, man. It's 88 pounds. Are you freaking kidding me? This thing is 88 pounds. So it's about 10 pounds, which is not that much, to be honest. So I honestly don't see this cutting. I have to disagree with you, Zenly, on this one. Because the only advantage between this and the Monster Pro is that the Monster Pro is 10 pounds lighter, about 10 pounds lighter. The Monster Pro is 3,600 watt motor. This is a 3,000 watt motor. The Monster Pro is 3,600 watt hours. This is 3,600 watt hours. So just by looking at the cells, the battery capacity versus the motor, it's a 600. Wait, hold on. It's a 500 watt difference. So no, I think the battery is way adequate for the motor on this one. Unlike the Abrams, you see, they did the complete opposite of the Abrams. Whereas the Abrams had this crazy motor and tiny battery, they did the complete opposite. And a shout out to Sensei, because he did mention that a long time ago when we were talking about it. But this is not an area where I'm concerned about cutting out due to battery. No, definitely not. We can cross that out. We can cross that out. Absolutely. Let's see. Hunter and Hart says Master Pro. Hold on, let me put my favorite view up here of this thing. There we go. Master Pro, maximum speed and range. Let's see. Cruise Control says I need to see you guys post the right videos first to determine my decision. For now, top 3 Commander Sherman S Pro. Okay, for now, top 3 Commander Sherman S, and Master Pro. Wow, I don't hear much people talk about the Commander, but yeah, the Commander is a good wheel. Only issue is overheating, right? So I don't know. T4 Zenly T4. Zenly says, "Dang, it's V13 or Sherman S from list for me." V13 or Sherman S. I'm curious why he's wait. If you're choosing the Sherman S, how is the V13 ahead of the Sherman S? Interesting. Is it for novelty reasons? Like you just want to get the Sherman S? I mean the V13 just because? Because I don't see how this competes at all. Zenly says, but I think T4 will be his next wheel. For someone that does a lot of off-roading, I could see that as well. Cirrus, but I can also see you getting the Sherman S, Zenly, to be honest. Cirrus laughs. Paul Wunschild says, what is the top speed of the Sherman S? The top freewheel spin is 64. So we can imagine it's around 54 miles an hour, possibly 54 miles an hour, maybe 55. No, yeah, probably 55, 50, 54, 55 miles an hour. I could see that happening. Yep. Splash says, Commander Pro, question mark. Sirius says, I hate to say it, but if the Sherman S is over 4,000, then the Master Pro and X for the win. What? Hold on. So it's 4,000. What is the cost of the other wheels that you just mentioned? I don't think. Let's see. E-wheels. Remember, you're getting better build quality with the Sherman S, guys. Way better build quality. You know what I mean? No. How is it for the win? I don't understand. He said, I hate to say it, but if the Sherman S is over 4,000, no, it's not. And you're right. You're absolutely right. I thought you were making a statement. You're suggesting something. Serious. So you're right. I hate to say it, but if the Sherman S is over 4,000, then the Master Pro or X for the win. Well, I'm happy to announce that the Sherman S is $4,150. So it's $150 above what you mentioned. So I'm not sure if your statement is like stringent, like an absolute value, but 4,150, I think that's in your ballpark. So cross out the Master Pro and cross out the X, because you're talking $4,000, a difference of what? With the Master Pro, you're looking at $4,600. Yes, it says $4,599, but it's $4,600. So yeah, and keep this in mind. Yes, I want the Master Pro too. It's freaking amazing. But like I said, it's just interesting that you have no shell, no protection besides the pads. And it's an easy fix, I think, but I just don't like the fact that there's no shell and the top is pure foam. Any head-on collision and that thing is no more. You know what I mean? And all that money for nothing. So the Sherman S at 3,600 is kind of filling in that void or that concern that most people have with the fact that, listen, you drop this thing and here goes your money. You drop this, you're gonna get some scuffs. That's it. You're gonna get some scuffs. And I'm not sure if the headlight is protruding out of the handle, but it looks like the headlight is protruding out of the handle. But let me see the side view here. Okay, good. So there you go. I mean, the headlight could break though, because it's coming a little bit further out from the shell. If the shell came out a little more, or this came out a little more, and the headlight was a little bit more recessed, then maybe you could say, but at least your taillight will be safe. Your taillight is 100% safe compared to that Master. Oh, man. So there you go, Cirrus. $4,150, and you can get your Sherman S. So Sherman S for the win so far. M104. E. Simon says M104, and Donovan says good choice. That's funny. Sirius says bigger battery on the Pro and the 134 volt, which does make the difference. Yeah, the 134 volt makes a huge difference. But like I said, for the average person, I don't see that being a huge difference. For the average person, the 100 volt is fine. The 100 volt is well proven. Number one, there's not many issues with it. I don't see the only place I see the crazy advantage with the 100+ volts is the master. That's the I gotta stop doing that because it's gonna come through the video. But that's the only advantage I saw so far, where the master is the only wheel on the market that makes true use of its beefed up voltage. Okay, other wheels like the KS20, nothing. I mean, I don't see any difference. Where's the master? So there we go. Here's the master, and I might still get a master, man. I like the look, but I'm just scared of dropping that thing, man. I'm really scared of dropping it. So what am I looking for? Yeah, so the master is 134 volts. Okay, 134 volts. And that's honestly the only wheel. And that's what I like about the Goat too. When they come out with a wheel and they show you specs, it's not for show. It's not for display. It's for use. When the first 84 volt came out, the MSX 84 volt, okay, you could feel the 84 volts. You could feel the lack of power because of the 18-inch tire. People were complaining about, look, it's not really good off the line. But when they came out with the 100 volt, it was kind of on and off because you had the big wheel. And then it's weird because I remember I complained about it a little bit, how it wasn't really the same as the 84 volt. But the more I rode the 100 volt MSX, I'm sorry, once I got a hold of the MSP, the 100 volt MSP, that's when I started to really experience some crazy torque. And the 84 volt was just blown out the water. There was a vast difference in performance. Okay, so that's what I like about the Goat. When they release a wheel and they address the specs, when they tell you, oh, this is 134 volts, that's what they mean. Okay, it's not for show. Unlike the KS20, they came out with 100, I believe it was 126 or something like that. But you can't really tell the difference because it's not just the voltage, dude. It's a bunch of other things that goes into it. So what we're going to do now is I found this site. It's called Vrooming. And you guys should check them out. It's Vrooming. And what they do is I guess they're, I don't know what they are. It's like a EV website. And they don't just deal with electric unicycles, they deal with all kinds of electric vehicles. So if you go to the About Us, where's the About Us? Yeah, they have, I like their site because it has like all kinds of thorough articles. Okay, so I don't even know where it's based out of. But it says Vrooming PEV collection. Vrooming is a collective of North American e-scooters. Oh, so it's from the US. I don't know why it gave me that European vibe. That's weird. But anyway, Vrooming is a collective of North American. Oh, you guys can't see that. Let me zoom in. But yeah, check it out, guys. Check out Vrooming. If you want more information or the latest information about your EUC or PEV, definitely check out Vrooming. Vrooming is a collective North American e-scooter, EUC, e-bike, and e-skate riders, Bay Area, Northeast Tri-State. Our content contributors come from a variety of backgrounds, including design, finance, technology, marketing, medicine, and so on and so forth. We share a passion for promoting micromobility as a way to save time, money, have fun, and be environmentally responsible. There you go. So definitely check them out. So they made an article on this. So let's just go through it a little bit, and then I think we'll end the show. So it's quite long though. So it's a little long, but I started reading it earlier, and I thought it was a little bit informative, if you will. So let's just check it out. Okay. So you guys can see that, right? All right, good. So here we go. Leaperkim. Tan Hut, soldiers salute. Okay, true to its name, the Veteran Sherman franchise is back and in full action. The good guys at Leaperkim have taken the Sherman Max and made it even better. Everything from its geometry, beefy exoskeleton, magnesium shell, supercharged 24 MOSFET controller, and the 7 kilowatt max high torque motor, this military inspired alien, hence alien rides, inspired alien like one wheel electric unicycle is back with full force. Looking to learn more about the Sherman? Looking to learn more about the Sherman? All right. Okay. Then yeah, so if you go, you can just, they have a lot of resources here, guys, that you can go and check. They're not sponsoring this video, so that's not why I'm mentioning them. I just like information about wheels on the go, and these guys seems to have it. So decisions, premeditated pre-orders. Okay, analytical paralysis is a real thing. Call it indecision, being overwhelmed with options like the time we browse through Netflix or even scanning long, I don't know what that is, Takira or Vietnamese menu. There are too many damned options and we want it all. We can't have it all, especially with extreme performance wheels. Let's be decisive. Let's pretend we choose this Veteran Sherman over its counterparts. The inferior, emphasis on the quotes here. V13, Master Pro X, Masters, and S22s of the world. We'll head to the bank for this article to get the necessary funds. Basically, these things are expensive, guys. There's no doubt that these are expensive machines, and I'm not sure how you guys are buying your wheels. I know some people, some people, they sell their old wheels and then they, use that money to buy new wheels. My issue is every time I buy a new wheel, I end up beating it up, and I don't feel comfortable selling it to someone because of how hard I ride it. But I don't know. It takes me a long time to sell wheels anyway. But anyway, the Sherman OG was the world's finest wheel. As I mentioned earlier, and as a lot of you can agree, the OG Sherman was a one-hit wonder, in the words of whoever said that at the time. But can it retain its title? And that is what we're here to talk about. And most of us agree that they can retain their title. And just like your polls showed, they will. They will absolutely retain their title. And it really looked like they took time building this machine. So Leaperkim nailed it with the original series. The Veteran Sherman OG was a huge deal then, still is now, and no other wheel came close to its durable shell, roll cage performance, 3200 battery pack. Quality is of the utmost importance regarding outstanding extreme performance electric unicycles, and some companies fail to accept that. I think he means the goad. That's so sad. Because the goat is very extremely performance oriented, but they don't really put too much emphasis on, the most important parts like the shell. Powerful motor and long battery life. The 7,000 watt max high torque motor allows for speeds up to 46 miles per hour. So there you go. In case someone asks what was the top speed, I wouldn't say that's the top speed. I would say 46 miles per hour is the speed that is comfortable to ride. So e-wheels would consider that the top cruising speed. High capacity battery, 3,600 watt hour with a max travel range of 144 miles under specific conditions and a max load of 265 pounds. Lose weight, guys. Upgrade your commuting. Veteran Sherman S electric unicycle equipped with 20-inch tires, and full shock absorbers to provide max comfort even on rough surfaces or speed bumps. Safety features upgraded shell, control board, suspension pedals, bright LED lights. I would like more lumens data, specific data. Quality warranty. The Veteran Sherman S electric unicycle is equipped with more powerful performance and becomes your best long-range commuting or outdoor travel companion. 12-month warranty offered by eWheels. Wow, nice. As you know, Alien Rides will possibly offer 2-year, but eWheels offers 1 year, just so you know. So let's keep reading here. Hype. And I've always said that. Hype. Fun-filled. Okay, full speculation. If you're the type of rider that likes to take a breather on the open roads and clear some headspace, the cutting-edge 7,000 watt 100 volt 3600 Veteran Sherman S electric unicycle is intended to provide you with the best possible riding experience on long stretches of highway. The OG model provided that with very little upkeep. That is true. Will the suspension of a new board create and a new board create the same experience or introduce new issues? Oh gosh, that last part, man. Or introduce new issues. I remember with the OG Sherman, the main issue with the OG Sherman at the time was I believe when you crashed it on the side, you ended up messing up the BMS. So you had to shave part of the inner part of the shell in order to not get it to press against the BMS. So that was an unforeseen issue. Hopefully there's no crazy issue like that. And there were some other issues too, but I won't get into it. Features, prices, one that we already talked about all of this stuff. Okay. Any other information that is very important to mention? No, we talked about this. Let's see. The motherboard. Phase wires are mounted on pure copper columns for improved conduction, independent power sources, separated communication, and driver boards. 24 MOSFETs. They use the TO247 MOSFETs up to 680 peak current. We already talked that the V13 is a little bit more. Obviously, it's 1,000 amps compared to this Sherman S, which is 680. The shell has a new all new integrated display with more data telemetry. I want more information. What does this mean? More data telemetry. I'm very curious to see what this means. Like, does it connect to the GPS? What's going on here? You know what I mean? That'd be great. Lightweight, high strength nylon protective carrying handle, dual purpose flip up trolley handle, what we don't really like. Magnesium side panels, rear carrying handle and seat extension, suspension adjustment point, rear mudguard fitted with stand, adjusted, constructed of high strength magnesium, 310-pound max. That's for the pedal. Okay, this is the high speed. Big performance to make it a little more enjoyable. We already talked about this. So 144 mile potential range. That's probably riding at like 35 miles an hour or maybe less. But either way, we pretty much know what to expect because we have wheels out here that are equipped with 3,600 watt hours like the Commander and the Monster. So it's not going to be any more different. So there you go. Here goes the price for the person who was concerned, which was Cirrus. Okay, Cirrus was concerned about the price. Here you have it. So do you believe it's worth the 4,150 price tag? Too early to say. It's all hype at the moment. Test units are being sent out soon. Okay, quality. The wheel. Okay, this wheel is a work of art. Leaperkim's external exoskeleton design are consistently exceptional. It always amazes me how well made and designed an electric unicycle can be. I know it's one wheel and it's freaking amazing. Drivetrain, the motor, boards, battery, wiring, and construction all contribute to the success of this wheel. We're waiting for video reviews because we want to witness someone push this wheel to its breaking point, allowing for safe passage for ordering. Even though it's not 126, this goes to the people who were concerned about the 100 volt. Even though it is not 126 volt, 100 or 134 volt wheel, the 100 volt system appeals to me too. It's a surprise to me why Leaperkim hasn't gone much higher than 100 volt. Perhaps their technology isn't quite there yet, and they don't want to release a wheel without confidence. I totally agree with that. Thoughts? 4,100 is a lot of money, and the world events and inflation rates don't help the purchasing process. For my hard-earned money, I would still consider this wheel based on its quality, looks, feel, and innovation. On most days, I won't travel faster than 38 miles an hour. That's not me. And I surely don't want to go faster than 50. But it's nice to have the headroom. I mean, no way an off-roader or track rider feel of this size is not suitable for that type of riding. The Sherman suspension has the muscle to flex, a new suspension system for comfort, an upgraded sexy shell for protection, 24 MOSFETs capable of handling high amperage load. Being a highly visual person, the appearance of this wheel would be enough to sell it to me. I know, that's what grabbed me, but it is hefty, which comes with the territory. Would you prefer this wheel over the V13? We already checked that, yes. It's currently more expensive with the special pre-order price. Wow. So Here are some specs right here. If we just go over that one more time, the top speed here, it says it's 46 miles an hour. I don't think that's the top speed. I think that's the top cruising speed, in my opinion, because there's still a lot of headroom. You're talking 64 miles per hour free wheel spin here. Motor is 3,500 watts. It's 3,500 watts. Did I make a mistake? Did I make a mistake? Or did E-Wheels make a mistake? Because if I go to E-Wheels, it says it's a 3,000 high torque motor. But Vroom is saying it's a 3,500. That's interesting. Okay. Maybe Zenly might have a point. Materials, magnesium shell, price 4,150. Okay, so here you go. This is, check out Vrooming. So there you have it, guys. That's, let me see what else. Legal issues. What is that? What is this legal issue section? Let's read this, the legal issues. Some users have pointed out the irony that in the country where all electric unicycles are designed and manufactured, a place that some people regard as the world's factory, that Bigot is finally being called out. Okay, that's different. We're talking about the Commander here. Awesome. So, guys, yeah, this is what we got here. This is the Sherman S, a wheel that Leaperkim is attempting to release in order to rebuild the confidence that we once had for them in this space. So let's hope that they're able to do it. Let's hope that they're able to, rekindle that excitement that we had for them. And again, to be fair, a lot of people still have that original excitement they had with the OG Sherman. This, to me, looks like the OG Sherman Plus. Yes. This looks like an OG Sherman Plus because the design is the same. It's very attractive. I like the curves. I love the utilitarian look to it. Man, what a wheel, man. What a wheel. It might not be what you guys are looking for in terms of like a pure racing wheel. But what do you want? Do you want, because look, the Master can only go up to like 50. If you can hit 50 miles an hour, if you can ride 40, 45, 47, even 48 miles an hour on the Master, I don't expect that you can do that for at least 10, even 20 miles. You know what I mean? And let's just say you decide to go accelerate hard. And if you live in a city like I do, and you accelerate hard, you brake hard because there are too many lights and stuff like that. You could kill the battery that way too. Killing the battery does not necessarily mean that you're riding at a very high speed all the time. Sometimes it's accelerating too hard and braking too hard, carving too. So all that stuff comes into play when where draining the battery is concerned. This is 3,600 watt hours. I was expecting the Master to have at least 27. I like the shell. It's 97 pounds. It's 20 pounds heavier than the Master. But man, I don't know. For me, personally, I would love the Master, personally. But I have an EXN that does really well in terms of speed, in terms of range. I would hate for anything to happen that would pretty much cause my Master to crash and end up in pieces. This seems to be a solution to that problem. I love how they took time to build this. So let's look at some of your comments and we'll end the show. E. Simon says, gotta be waterproof. It rains all the time here. Always getting caught in it. Cruise control, Donovan Word. It was scary as F. I'm not gonna be like, good thing he was scared up, but that vid's still stuck in my head. Which vid is this? I'm talking about, is that the one on EUC Vibes channel? Donovan, I've had a few bad crashes myself this year, shot in my left shoulder back in May. Yeah, a lot of crashes been happening, but guys, this is part of the sport apparently. Just wear your gear and get a wheel with a shell. How about that? That way you don't destroy your wheel. OmniWheel, if Leaperkim doesn't duplicate the bad quality of software and hardware built off the Abram and have Sherman S come out like they say it is, it will, yeah, it will be the winner for the next coming years. Agree. Totally agree. There can't be a double fail, man. There can't be a double fail. Just do well. Take your time. Release it. Zen and Lou got me through that. Zenly voted for the Sherman S, but leaning toward V13. I don't understand, Zenly. Why are you leaning to the V13? I know what type of rider you are. You do long range, you do off-roading, you do all these races. Why would the V13 catch your eye? I'm very curious. Shattered my left shoulder. Donovan, get better, Donovan. You shattered it. That means you completely broke it. Wow. Zenly, I know you already have a master. Let's see. Stephen Evans. He says Sherman Max comes in and is sold out and back ordered. Sherman S won't be any different. Totally agree. Totally agree. EUC Lucifer, shit. You back riding now, Don? Sherman Max doesn't cut out with only. I don't know. I can't say it doesn't cut out. I mean, well, that's the thing. Exactly. 2,800 watts, but it's not the motor. I think what people are not realizing is if you have a motor that's here, your battery shouldn't be here. Your battery shouldn't be here. Your battery should be equal or there. You know, it should be above. There's no way your battery should be low because that motor is going to request a lot of current from it and you're not going to be able to deliver. That's what happened with the Abrams. Besides the software firmware issue and all that stuff, you just got to keep up. I can't imagine cruise control. I can't imagine doing 100 kilometers like in the vid cutting. Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. That was a Master Pro cutting out, by the way. Check it out, guys, online. I don't know where it is, but there was a Master Pro doing 100 kilometers per hour, and it crashed. I wish I could have seen the aftermath. I wanted to see if it held up a lot better than the Master, because that would be very encouraging. You know what I mean? The Real Black Hercules says V13 for safety and water resistance. Yeah. Sirius says Leaperkim equals Apple because it's the second time you're saying that. Leaperkim. Oh, okay. That's the first time you're saying that one. Leaperkim equals Apple, Bigot equals Android. That is correct. Leaperkim is, I would say Leaperkim is Samsung, to be honest. In terms of quality. I think in motion still remains to be Apple. But you're right. Leaperkim has a high level of build quality. And I think that's what attracts me. Initially, I wanted the Sherman, but I didn't like the weight. But now that we have all these crazy heavy wheels, more than the weight, what I didn't really like about the Sherman was off the line. That got me, man. Like I couldn't really take this thing off the line without me feeling it's gonna cut out. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm gonna get the Sherman S. EUCXR. Nice. Devo, yo, what's up? I'm not sure who he's saying that to, but you guys have a ton of comments. Let me see this one right here. Cybervolt says the idea of Sherman having suspension model is interesting, but the proposed price tag is turn off. Seems to be standard for wheels now. I think the reason these wheels are expensive now is I think it's mostly because of inflation and mostly because of what's going on in China. But also because they're adding more things. Like you have the suspension. That's a huge add-on right there. I mean, what would you expect this wheel to be around in terms of price? Maybe $3,000, $3,500 would have been nice. I could see this being a $3,500 wheel. But yeah, you're right. It's like they're going this trend now. The days of seeing a 2,000. But shout out to Bigot. Shout out to Bigot. They have the T4. Which is a nice wheel that you can purchase for a good price. I mean, I don't know. You're right. I don't think we're going back to the days of affordable wheels. This is done. That's it. Unglim. It is the EX20S with hard shell. Ah, I see what you're saying. But the EX20 has the old, he said, Vrooming is wrong. Bunny Slipper says, so it's okay. So Vrooming was wrong. Okay. So sorry, Zenly. I got to take that back. I don't think they're gonna cut out that much because of the motor. I think the battery wattage is adequate for the motor that's equipped, that this thing is equipped with. So guys, I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you guys for coming. This was a fantastic show. I liked it. It was short. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes. I don't want to go any longer than that. But what I want to say is that Leaperkim, I think, have now outdone themselves. They're on the verge. They're on the verge of claiming their reputation in this field. And I hope that this wheel comes out with minimal issues, because it's a given. A wheel's going to come out and you're going to have problems, because the real world will determine how it functions. Once you take this thing out of the lab and you put it in a different environment, not China, a completely different environment. I'm talking New York, I'm talking California, I'm talking all these places, places in Europe. Once you put it in different environments, then we're going to see what this thing is really capable of. Then that's the first batch. The first batch is going to go through its smoothing process. And then after the first batch, if it's not many issues we have to deal with here, we go into the second batch, we're good to go. So guys, I can't think of anything else I want to say right now, except to say, between all the other wheels, this might be the cheapest wheel, right? So the Sherman S is $4,150. Okay, so $4,150 for the Sherman S. Then you have the V13. The V13 the early bird is $4,000, but I think the V13 is very expensive. It's like close to $5,000. And then you have, so far Sherman S for the win in terms of price. Then you have the Master Pro, which is at $4,600. Okay. Then you have the Master X, which is, oh wow, the Master X is at $4,199. That's interesting. Wow. And the motor is bigger. The motor is 4,500 watts. But hey, we're talking about a huge wheel here. We're talking about you know what I'm saying? But it's the same wattage, same watt hours, same battery. Interesting. Again, the only thing that gets me with the Masters is the no shell, man. No waterproofing. That's what gets me, man. So yeah, the price might be good, but there's a lot to concern yourself with. There's a lot that makes me worried. And then what else? Then you have the original Sherman, or basically the Sherman Max, sorry. How much is that? That thing is, so far the cheapest one is the original Sherman, or the Sherman Max, but you're not getting suspension. So there you go. There you go, guys. You can watch the old video for the Sherman. This is the original Sherman, but it's pretty much the same as the Max. So there you have it. There you have it. Leaperkim will regain our confidence. I strongly believe Leaperkim will regain our confidence. Just look at it, guys. Just look at it. Just look at this beauty of a wheel. Anyway, I just want to thank all of you for tuning in. I really want to thank you guys. Bunny Slippers, I did my power nap. I was ready for an 8-hour stream. If I didn't have a son, I would probably do a 10-hour stream. I'm joking. Spartacus says, excellent show, Ustride. Thanks for putting this together. Yeah, I had to, because this wheel is just beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, smoothing. When I say smoothing, I mean you have bumps, like a signal. You have boop, 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 and then it smooths out. So that boop, boop, boop are all these issues that that's inevitable. It's going to happen. And then it just smooths out. So I know, sell it to the Americans for testing. That's so true. Oh man. And he says, let's, UC Lucifer says, let's go, Brendan. Sup, UK riders. Okay, yo, you wanted a shout out from you, Stride? LOL, never mind me. Oh, man. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to all of you. Guys, have an awesome night. I don't have an outro, but I guess I'll create the video. I'll just play the video I made earlier. Enjoy, guys. Have an awesome evening. Take care. Happy riding. Yet way more practical than... Hey, that's not what you want. Boom. That's what you want. There you go. Later. All right, guys. So Leaperkim has entered the suspension market in an attempt to regain the love and trust that we initially had for the company before they went south with the disaster that was the Abrams. This new suspension wheel from Leaperkim appears to be exactly what we've been looking for in several categories, which include weight, height, overall size and dimensions, battery capacity, speed and torque, motor, quality where material is concerned, amenities such as the laser warning light, and a lot more. Patiently waiting in the background and strategically planning on how to re-enter the sphere in a big but satisfactory way, Leaperkim, at least on paper, appears to have delivered. The Sherman S is not too over the top and yet in no way looks underwhelming in any way. My first impression with the original Sherman was that its build quality was bar none for the performance that was being delivered. Like the name suggested, this was a tank of a wheel, but in no way ugly. It was extremely attractive, yet way more practical than many of the wheels that came before it, minus the weight. But by today's standards, the Sherman S seems to fit right snug in between the V13 Challenger, which is a monstrosity of a wheel with only 3,024 watt-hours at 110 pounds, and extremely tall, and the Master, which appears to be at a similar height and dimensions. However, the Sherman S has a protective shell, handlebars, and a maintenance-free suspension system. This is probably the best approach that Leaperkim could have taken to play it safe, since both Kingsong and Bigode already have many complaints about their suspension systems, and it hasn't even been a year yet. Anyway, the most important factor of all is the 3600 watt-hour battery that the Sherman is known for. Rated at 100.8 volts, the Sherman S pulls far away from the bad memory and experience that was the Abrams, and seems to be putting that far, far behind them. Now, if Leaperkim can take their time and, like the Sherman, deliver yet another solid build, they have a massive chance of fixing their reputation in this sphere. So, are you guys excited for the Sherman S? I know I am. Please leave your comments and let me know. Now let's talk about this.